Today, we are going to elevate your chair spin. Now, it's important to say that this is not necessarily a beginner tutorial, even though when we first learn our chair spin, it tends to be considered a beginner skill. The things that we're going to do today, the little tweaks we're going to make, are going to make this harder. So essentially, we are, as an improver, an intermediate, a higher intermediate, and an advanced student, we are now revisiting our chair spin and elevating it, okay? Now, really important to say, aesthetics and style is so subjective. These are just some suggestions of how you could do it. It's not a right or wrong way. The beginner way of doing it isn't right or wrong, it's an option, okay? So I don't want anyone to feel like I'm saying this is how you have to do it if you want to look good. That's not true, okay? It's just some suggestions so that you can play with it and have a bit more fun with your beginner skills again, because beginner doesn't have to be boring, it doesn't have to be basic, okay? It can be very exciting, we can experiment, we can explore, we can play, and we can look fucking awesome, okay? So you need to be able to do a chair spin. And it doesn't matter if it's on static or spin today, it's entirely up to you. I am on spin just because I really can't be bothered to swap to my chrome pole. I'm on my silicone and static is agony on this pole. It doesn't really work, okay? So it's the only reason that I am on spin. But we are actually going to use a static pole technique if we're on spin. So it works on either way, okay? And as I said, this is harder. Some beginners may be able to do this. I'm not going to completely write you all off, but most of you are probably going to find this significantly harder. Okay, let's just go for those tips, okay? So let me just do a very quick recap of how we go into our chair spin, just in case you've forgotten. So we're going to start with inside arm nice and high. We step on the inside leg. The outside leg comes up. We push off, and then we just sit on our chair. Okay, and we tend to be quite straight. If we're on spin pole, we're going to be close to the pole. If we're on static, we might be a little bit further away, okay? But generally, there's less to think about. So, 3 things really, 4 things technically, I guess. First, we're going to think about pulling our outside hip up to our armpit in our spin to create a nice kind of curved silhouette. Rather than just being really straight with our body, we're accentuating our hips, okay? So we can enter the same, and then we're just going to pull that hip up towards our armpit. And that can be hard. We need to use our oblique muscles in order to be able to do that. Okay, that's tip 1. Tip 2 and 3 kind of link together. So we're going to use almost a static technique. We're going to really swing out into our movement. We're going to get some distance between ourselves and our pole. To facilitate that, we need the 3rd tip, which is to push across the body. So when we first learn this on spin at least, we tend to have both arms a bit higher because it is easier. It is easier to hang from 2 arms than to hang from one and push with another, okay? So this is where the technique gets a little bit harder. So the second hand comes across the body and it's coming across so that I can get a good push. If it's too high, I can kind of push, but not really. If it's too low, it's going to feel really horrible on my wrist. I think my arm is kind of coming in at the bottom of my ribs, just under my chest. Okay, and I'm actively pushing the pole away. So I step on my inside leg. I circle my outside leg. Now, I don't have a lot of room in here. I'm going to kick the wall. But ideally, if you've got room, that leg wants to be straight and the hips are really going with it. We're really reaching out. Obviously, this is dependent on the amount of space you have in your home. Okay, I don't have a lot. So I step, I really circle my outside leg straight if we can, the hips going with it. The outside arm is going to come across to push, and then we go into our spin. And again, we're going to pull our hip up to our armpit, okay? The final tip is just to play around with the leg shape, okay? So our standard chair spin is just both legs next to each other in a right angle. But what if we were to cross our legs, okay? What if we were to have our knees together that kind of stagger our feet? So they're not like together, they're slightly separate. What if we were to have one leg straight, one leg bent? What if we'd have both legs straight? I'm trying to think other options. So many options. So play around with leg position. Let me just show you all of those on a bit of a spin. I'll try and hold each one for as long as I can. So nice and high, step inside leg, sweep the outside leg out with the hips coming to. Outside arm comes across you. You can really push across the body. Don't go too high. It's like just below my boobs, okay? And then hoik your hip to your armpit. So we've got normal chair. You can cross either leg. You can have your knees together, but separate your feet a little bit. I'm losing my grip. So it's so humid. Yesterday, I think, was the first time we've had rain in weeks here in the UK, which is quite unusual. It's been so humid. We had like thunderstorms yesterday. I was hoping it would clear the air. I'm not a slidey person on my hands generally. I've been so slidey, it's so humid. Anyways, so one leg straight or the other leg straight is another option. So we can come here or we can come there. Okay, you can play around with the shapes. Both legs straight. This is a little bit harder to do and to make look pretty, but also an option. Okay, so I'm not even going to do right and left today. I think if you're strong enough in your skill, you should hopefully be able to put this together. But remember, outside hip hoiks, big circle with the legs, push across the body, play around with your leg position. Something else you could also play around with is your head position. Maybe you want your head right back. Maybe you want it out to the side, in towards the pole. Like, play around with positioning. Film yourself. Try lots of different variations and film yourself. Watch it back. What do you think looks nice? What shapes look pretty? Because everybody's different and different bodies look better in different positions. So it's worth seeing what looks good on you through the eyes of your camera, not through like in the mirror. It's hard to see yourself in the mirror, okay? All right, hopefully that's everything you need today. I love to see what you've been working on. So if you do it, film it, tag me, or just send it to me. I love to see. And as always, don't forget to train smarter, not harder.